Cool. So basically, with your sound, project into the mic, not too loud, but project into the mic, and then like speak facing this direction. Yeah. And in general, what do you want to cover in this? Let's do a quick. What do you want to cover? You want to cover like the deck, and then.
I want to cover I'd be like, I play LEXI. Here are some reasons why I played it for this RTN, and then get into the deck.
You got first place in RTN. What's an RTN?
Road to National.
Okay, so you got a first place in the Road to Nationals with LEXI.
Mm-hmm. So I qualified for U.S. Nationals.
So yeah, start off with that, and then the clickbait is going to be something like, LEXI's not a new deck, right?
No. The clickbait is, I hate this deck, but it's good. Because every time I talk about LEXI,
that's not gonna be the clickbait. Because if you hate the deck, people won't click on the.
Well, I hate the deck because I don't like playing LEXI, but
people won't click on the video. The clickbait is gonna be like how I beat all these new decks, how I beat Dromai and whatever with.
How to beat the new meta with LEXI.
With LEXI, yeah. That's gonna be the clickbait because that's what people are gonna look for. Okay, cool. So just keep that in mind when talking about this stuff, and then let's just jump right into it. Whenever you're ready.
All right.
You want to do a quick intro or?
Yeah, I'll say summarism.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to another Darkside Games video. This is Peter. I'm talking about my Road to Nationals winning deck list with LEXI Livewire here. Talk about how to win in this new meta, especially with LEXI, and what the key points I want to bring. Why I want to bring a deck like LEXI into my Road to Nationals and moving into this forward of this format in Uprising here. So to talk about LEXI, traditionally LEXI has either been a full aggro deck or a more like ice control disruptive deck that is going to lock out your opponent from the game. This LEXI kind of does both at the same time, but I call it no BS LEXI because I'm not playing any of the cards that are just there for filler. I'm playing just strictly the best cards in every slot. Even if they don't have as much synergy together, they're playing the best cards in every slot, so we don't just die, don't have just worse quality of cards, which LEXI kind of gets hurt on some aspects. So with LEXI, obviously we have our equipment here. We're in a classic Voltaire build. 90% of the LEXIs are just going to put on this Voltaire. We are also doing that. We have the New Horizons, Spring Tunic, the Bullseye Bracers, and then we're loading out our equipment slot with Snapdragon Scalers. Snapdragon Scalers is actually really important in this deck because we're leaving a card in our arsenal, but usually an arrow that doesn't have Go Again naturally, and a lot of times we need to be able to play that and snap it to get that really cool 3-4 arrow attack turns, which is so big in this deck. Then we have just No Room Boots for that AB2 for a lot of those wizard matchups. And then Purge Grapplers, especially for the Prism, to be able to block Herald of Erudition really effectively, and versus the Fine Ninjas where I need to block with equipment almost every single turn. That's my equipment loadout. Let's get into our sideboard. Okay, where can I put it? Here. Kind of slanted. There's a reason why. I agree. Let's move it down.
Just fucking up your shit.
Alright, so now we're looking at our sideboard here. I have a lot of cards out here. I'm not really playing as many cards in my main board that I run in every single matchup, so this is definitely one of those toolbox decks to where I'm picking the best cards in my sideboard to round out the rest of my 60 in every matchup. So we're just going to start over here with my Lightning sideboard. I got 3 Lightning Surges and 3 Lightning Presses. A lot of the time I'm bringing these in versus Prism and when I want to be more aggressive. The Lightning Press is helping me with the poppers, be more aggressive with that Go Again, and the Lightning Surge just does everything I want it to do. Arsenal Lightning Surge, give me my next arrow Go Again so I can +1 it with Voltaire, also attacking another 4, and then attacking with another arrow, getting that good 3-4 attacks per turn, which I really, really need in this deck to be more aggressive. Then we're moving on to some specific things. The Battering Bolt, only for Prism here, that 6 power is going to be really good. Has the same slot as CNC, can see you bring CNC in as well. Then we have our arrow slots. So every single 1-cost arrow in my deck is going to be in our sideboard, and I'm bringing in 6 to 9 of each in every single matchup to round out my deck. I got Fatigue Shots, which is going to half my opponent on yellow and reds. I got Chilling Ice Vein, which is going to be the one that makes you discard if you Ice Fuge, which I'm always bringing in with that Arctic Iteration. And then I have the Sleep Darts, which is that generic turn off your hero ability. Those are really key in a lot of matchups in this Uprising format. Then I went into the key card from Uprising that really makes this deck tick. It's going to be this Arctic Iteration. It's going to create 3 Frostbites in your opponent's control. Basically stops your opponent from playing 90% of the cards in their hand because they have to pitch so much to stop 3 Frostbites. A lot of the times, if you play it versus an aggressive deck, they just don't have a turn because they don't have a double blue to get out of it. They just kind of struggle with it a lot. Key MVP of the weekend would be this card. Stopped a lot of those aggressive decks. This is going to be our sideboard for this LEXI deck. Oh man, no, this is sorted. Alright, now we're going to look at our main board, specifically our blues in this matchup. I'm only running 18 blues. Every single one of these blues is in every single one of these matchups. I'm never taking any of these out. Our standard 9 arrows here. Running the full 9 of these Bolton Shots, really good. Anytime I can plus Bolton Shot with, ahead of its normal base power, very good to get that go again, that extra reload. A lot of arrows that are going to fuse in this deck. One of the few ones is going to be that Frostlock. Frostlight's so good against these Katsus, these Phais, these Briars, everything that wants to do with that 0 cost ability. Frostlock is just a house with if you can fuse and hit them with it. Then we got a Headshot. It's going to be one of the few blues that's going to be a 1 for 4 in your deck. When it's put into your arsenal, it does get +2. What if it's face up? Always going to be face up with Voltaire. Get that good 4-5 damage coming in from a blue, which is very, very key, especially late into the game when I don't have that many arrows left. Then I'm talking about some of our blues here. We got Ice Quakes. It's going to be +1. It's going to be those 9 ices. Ice Quakes can do that +1. Give your opponent a frostbite if your attack hits. A lot of time making those really interesting breakpoints, getting to that 5-6 breakpoints where a lot of decks are not going to be as consideration with it. Then Winter's Bite. Complete house. Blue Ice Pitch that also makes your opponent discard unless they pay 1. Just taking a card from your opponent's hand and trading like that in LEXI is just always going to get that on-hit effect with your arrow hitting late in the game. Very cool to set that up, give that frostbite from the arsenal. Then I want to talk about Hyperthermia, one of the best cards, in my opinion, out of Uprising. 0 cost ice blue that makes it so your opponents, if they doesn't have natural go again on their attacks, they can't gain go again. Complete house versus a lot of decks, versus especially the Rune Blades, just completely stopping them in their tracks. A lot of the, like, even in LEXI mirror I casted it, and it was just completely just stop them with one arrow, easily 2 block, have a 3-4 card hand against your opponent, and just easily take advantage of that tempo swing. Hypothermia, definitely going to be a card I'm looking forward to and playing a lot in the future. Alright, now moving on to the yellows in this deck. Some of the key points of actually playing this deck is going to be that yellows, and then I also added 3 of a kind to talk about one of these specialty slots. So again, I'll have full 9 of these Bolton shots, basically the key card of this deck of your arrows. Then we got our 9 powerhouses. Every time I see one of these cards in LEXI, just amazing to have that in that hand. Really going to have a lot of draw power, really going to have a lot of damage on these output turns. Trying to stack 2 to 3 of them at the end game, especially to beat the Guardians, but just a complete house if you draw 1 or 2 of them in the mid game, completely swinging the tempo. I'm going to start with Art of War. Art of War just does so much in every single deck, mostly used with the +1/+1 and then drawing the 2 in this deck, especially off Tunic 3, a blue pitch. A lot of the time I have extra mana floating around. Can use Art of War just super efficiently in this deck. Then I got Rain Razors. Arrows have +2 while attacking this turn. Just amazing outputs of damage in this deck, allowing you to get that 18 to 24 damage turn, as well as disrupt your opponent. Then we have 3 of a kind. 3 of a kind is going to be drawing 3, but I can only cast cards in my arsenal. But a 1 for drawing 3 is just so incredibly good in this deck, because I can play that Rain Razors out of arsenal, and then hit him with a 3 of a kind, get those 2 arrows, being able to +4 on my Rain Razors, and be able to cast all the cards, and still fuse from my hand. Incredible. Really the key part of this deck. Alright, then we have our red suite to finish this out. This is going to be all the reasons why to play this LEXI deck of this version. I have a whole bunch of 0/4/4 attack arrows that are not element specific. Besides these dash and crescendos, I'm playing 14 0 cost 4 damage arrows in this list. A lot is going to give you a lot of power. Don't need the elemental fuses. Always that consistent damage in this deck. Bolton Shot red. Incredible. 0/5 a lot of the times after loading it with Voltaire. Pathing Helix, allowing you to reload as well. Searing Shot, doing that extra damage if it hits. That 1 damage matters a lot of the time. And then the Endless Arrow, just an absolute house, bouncing into your hand, always having those arrow consistency. A lot of the time, you are not drawing that 2 to 3 arrows that you want to see in your hand. Endless Arrow just fixes that problem by hitting 1 time perfectly for this deck. Then adding the 2 Dazzling Crescendos to round out the numbers that we want to hit for the 0/4s. That's why there's only 2 here. And then we got the Red Ice Quakes. Red Ice Quakes just having that +3 to amplify the 4 to a 7. Really, really good breakpoint in this deck, as well as that Frostbite and that extra Ice Pitch for that Frostlock and those cards in my sideboard. Alright, that's going to be it for my LEXI deck tech today. The reasons why this deck should be played a lot more than I saw. There's only 2 in our road to nationals, and I think that number should be going up, especially going into that Pro Tour season, that US National season. LEXI, complete powerhouse, has the disrupted format, has the aggressive damage that you want, does everything that you want to do in this cycle, beats the other aggro decks, which I think are going to be super popular, and still can pitch deck for those mid-range combo decks as well. Has a good Kano matchup, has a good other matchups. Very few cards I want to change with this. Would run the exact same AD back if I had another event this weekend. Amazing deck. Looking forward to see other people playing it. See you guys then.